I think you've come a little bit.
No, I appreciate
Great
that.
program tonight.
Thank you, sir.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Coach. I'm Coach Mike Hickler.
But Coach Nutt is a terrific guy. We had a great time with him today. And please welcome, with the way that only Tallahassee Quarterback Club can, our keynote speaker, Coach Houston Nutt.
Thank y'all very much. Privileged to be here. I want to congratulate the high school players, the coaches, and I feel a connection with Godby High School. Coach McFarland was recruiting Chris Vaughn. I feel like that connection's never left. I appreciate the way you raise young men, especially the one I came and got from you, Chris Vaughn, who's now coaching at Texas, and he's a dandy. Kellen Winslow, when I brought him out to my team, the thing that he didn't tell you, he looked better than all my athletes. And I was almost embarrassed, I was getting started. I wanted him to talk to the team. He did such an awesome job, but have such respect for you, the job that you've done. I'll tell you what, I'm excited now about FAMU, and I know the job you're going to do. I want to go back. I feel like I'm amongst a lot of winners. And there's nothing like being around winners. And I really admire the run you had last year and the run that you still have going. But now when I hear the word underwhelmed, now I've been out of coaching for about 2 years. This is the first time I hadn't had a team. I've been a part of a team for 30 years plus. And so I want to remind you as I go across the country, be thankful now. Be thankful. I wouldn't use that word underwhelmed. Right, Kellen?
I wouldn't use it.
Don't use it too much now. Y'all look good. Y'all are fine. I want to go back to where I started. I started in Little Rock, Arkansas. I was a fortunate victim of circumstance. My mother and father graduated Oklahoma State, and they went right back to Arkansas. My dad was from Fordyce, Arkansas. My dad was raised in a deaf family. I don't know if you realize this, there's only one deaf school in each state. And my mother was the English teacher there for 33 years. My father was the bus driver, football coach, basketball coach, athletic director, and I was his #1 ball boy. My first job on that bus, I couldn't wait after they go to a basketball game or football game. My job was to get in the cardboard box and hand out bologna sandwiches. And I was always pumped up because there's always one left for me. And I mean thick bologna. There ain't nothing like it. But the reason I bring that up is it really, not only did I have a great family, I'm the oldest of 4 boys. All of us are in coaching. And my playgrounds were the deaf school. And so what I love so much about the deaf school, they leave at the age of 4 or 5. They have to leave like college kids. They have to leave and start to learn sign language, to communicate, to learn phonics and ABC, all these things that you take for granted sometimes. But what I love is on that playground, they can't say, hey, Johnny, throw me the ball. You have to use your eyes, you have to watch, and here's what I really love, and this taught me about family. See, when they left at age 4 and 5 years of age, there was Native American, African American, there was Mexicans, there was white, black, and it didn't matter as long as you could sign. And if you could sign, you were in the family. And so by the time I was 3, 4, I was already signing. And I never will forget, my next door neighbor came up to my dad one time and said, hey, Mr. Nutt, you're doing something wrong now. You teaching your boy how to sign before he even knows his ABCs. You need to get this boy speaking. Of course, my dad, now he's old school. What he did, he responded in this manner. Basically, get on out. But my dad's the type that he could drive down a 2-lane highway at 70 miles an hour when we didn't wear seatbelts, 4 boys in the back, and I don't know if y'all have brothers, but sometimes us brothers would get in a little of a scuffle ever so often. And he'd be driving 70 miles an hour, we'd be in the back, and we might be getting in a little something back there, and all of a sudden it would be boom, boom, boom. And I mean, he's accurate, And he would ask the most important question, you want some more? No, Dad, I don't want anymore. He didn't know about timeout, y'all. He knew about belt out. That's all he knew. And I know one thing. I knew that he loved these 4 boys, but I mean, it was attention. It was attention. And so I had my dream all laid out, guys. By the time I was 9 years of age, I was going to the NFL, NBA, or both. And everything was going right according to plan. I had Bear Bryant in my living room. Dick Vermeil recruited me. Frank Broyles recruited me. Had over 250 collegiate scholarship offers. Let's fast forward to that day. I was about this tall in the 9th grade. I went to Little Rock Central High School, one of the first integrated high schools in America. And it was such a prideful school. And so a lot of my friends were wanting to transfer. And my brother made the mistake of, Dad, we gonna transfer to that Catholic school? No, boy. You're going to Little Rock Central. And so from that statement on, we knew one thing. My dad ran the house, and my mama was going to make sure on Sunday church clothes were laid out, and you're going to get up and go to church, and you better give great effort in school and in athletics. And so when that day on draft day, when my name wasn't called, got back from Atlanta Falcons, lasted all about 48 hours. I was coming back to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Jimmy Johnson just gets through jogging. He sees me, comes over to my little car, and he says, heard things didn't go too well, but here's the good news. You're going to work for me. You're going to be my freshman coach. You still lack about 3 hours to graduate, and you'll be living in the dorm. Yes, sir. As he jogged off, underneath my breath, I said, now, who does this guy think he is with this consort hairspray? Not one hair out of place. He gonna tell me I'm gonna live in this dorm with boys for $1.65 an hour. And the reason that I love Jimmy Johnson so much, what I didn't know at that time, at 21 years of age, if I would have told him no, he would have had about 50 to 75 resumes on his desk by the next week of somebody wanting that job. And that first night in that dorm room, right before two-a-days, I had about 10 or 11 little 17, 18-year-olds all on the edge of my bed, and that was the first time I was called Coach Nutt. And I had to almost look around to see who they were talking to. Me. And I said, Coach Nutt, what's Coach Johnson going to do to me tomorrow on the conditioning test? Well, son, sit down. I want to tell you about it. And I never will forget the eyes of these young men that were looking at me so intently, and I knew I had all their dreams in the palm of my hand with the words that I'm getting ready to tell them. And I knew by the end of that first week, I was supposed to be a coach. And there's nothing like it. Kellen hit it. There's nothing like winning championships, but it's the relationships. I've been out of coaching 2 years, and I miss the relationships. I miss that Darren McFadden or that Dexter McCluster or Michael Orr, Jason Peters. I miss the relationship. There's nothing like it. And so, as I fast forward, I got to be around some great coaches, great mentors. Jimmy Johnson, Dave Wannstedt, Pat Jones. Then I went to be a grad assistant for Lou Holtz. Now, Lou Holtz, you like Lou Holtz, Notre Dame man? Well, he coached me, and I'm going to tell you something. As a coach, it's not easy working for Lou Holtz. I got to give you one story that I think will help, especially my young men right here. This is it. 1983, he hires me as the fullback coach, as grad assistant. That basically means a grad assistant, you work about 18 hours a day, full-time work, part-time pay. And you go pick up the ice, you go pick up his laundry, you go mow the grass, pick up the children, whatever he tells you to do, you say, yes, sir. And so at the end of each practice, after we eat, we come back to a meeting room, and he's already filling out practice. He's already making the notes. And I was coaching the fullback. It sounded like this. He smoked a pipe, by the way. Captain White, I can smell it right now. I'm getting a knot in my stomach. Come in a room, we got Don Bro. He was my quarterback. He was the quarterback coach. You got Larry Bechtel, Monty. You got great coaches, and he's already taking notes. Who did what wrong? First question in that meeting room. And it sounds like this. That's the pipe. That's his pipe. Who's coaching the fullback? Coach, I'm coaching the fullback. Now, he knows who's coaching the fullback. He knows. But he asked, who's coaching the fullback? I said, I am, Coach. You told me today that you were going to get it done with a 6-inch step. I want a 6-inch step by the fullback. Did you not tell me, Mr. Nutt, you're going to get the 6-inch step done properly? I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fullback went the wrong way. We're watching film now, 16 millimeter film. Yeah, 16 millimeter. Fullback didn't attack the outside leg. Fullback went the wrong way. Who's coaching the fullback? So that was the fullback. Well, guys, let's fast forward. It's the end of two-a-day, and I'm telling you, every night's the same thing. There's even rumors that some coaches went over there early to splice out 2 plays so Lou Holtz wouldn't see them. I didn't have the nerve enough to do that, but I wanted to. So I go back in there two-a-days. The last week of two-a-days, Lou Holtz and Captain White. Who's coaching the fullback? Fullback went the wrong way, and I made one mistake, y'all. He says, have you ever gone over that play? And I made a mistake. You know, I sat in the back because I'm a grad assistant. I made the mistake of saying this. Hey, coach, I went over that play 500 times. He shuts off the projector. Let me tell you something now. When Lou Holtz shuts off the projector in a dark room and all you hear is, what did you say, Mr. Nutt? It's not Coach Nutt anymore. What did you say, Mr. Nutt? I said, Coach, I went over that play 500 times. Obviously, you're a very poor teacher. Because I know how smart he is. But let me ask you this, Mr. Nutt. What's so significant about the number 500? Why not 1,000 times? Why not 1,500 times? Why not 2,000 times? Until the job's done, Mr. Nutt! Guys, that's it though. That's it. It's about perseverance. He held me accountable when I knew, as much as I didn't like him that night. If you fast forward, I love that man today because I knew when I left there in 1983, I could go coach for anybody in the country. It's about, you're going to get knocked down. That's all right, as long as you get back up. I had the privilege to be around Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders was 5'7", 151, coming out of Wichita, Kansas high school, had basically one offer. And we were the smart ones that said, Barry, this is the last recruiting weekend. Now, if so-and-so doesn't take the scholarship, and if so-and-so doesn't take the scholarship from Dallas, we're going to offer you this scholarship. So chances are kind of slim, but we wish you the best of luck. Bottom line is, 2 people turned us down, and Coach Pat Jones says, let's go ahead and sign Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders all his life was told he was too small. Barry Sanders got to campus 5'7", 153 pounds. But by the end of 3 years, 5'7 3/4", 212 pounds. And all he is he has the heart of a lion. Well, you know, you've seen him. He vertical jumps about 42 inches. Runs about a 4.3 flat anytime he wants. Stop on a dime, spin, whatever he wants. But what I love about him is how many times he was told, in Pee Wee ball, you'll never make it. In junior high, you're too small, it's too bad, Barry, you'll never make it. In high school, too bad, you're just too small, you will never play college ball. But all he did is just keep going, guys. That's what it's all about. And so I had the privilege to be around Lou Holtz. Eddie Sutton, I got to play basketball for Eddie Sutton, who had the triplets back in the day. Sidney Moncrief, Marvin Delph, Ron Brewer. I got to play some mop-up time. I get to play backup. But Eddie Sutton had assistants Pat Foster, Gene Cady. And they had this, everybody had this same recipe. It was about an attitude. And so when I finally got my first job at Murray State, I never will forget coming into a room. I had my Bear Bryant. I had my Frank Royal speech ready to go. And I walk in and I said to the athletic director, did everybody know that 7 o'clock the new coach was going to address the team? Yeah, we put up signs, coach, but they're usually late. I said, well, that's usually got to stop now. They got to be on time. So they all came in, sat down, and I mean, they looked like this when they sat down. I mean, they wasn't too excited to see me. I was much more excited to see them. And so when they finally all got in, I said, how many of y'all knew there was a 7 o'clock meeting? Kind of half participated. I said, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to pretend. I'm going to reset my clock to about 6:45. We're going to walk back out the room, and we're going to come back in. We're going to put our bottoms to the back of the chair and look me in the eye because I'm your new coach. And the guy in the back says, some kind of nut here. And so there's always obstacles. There's always obstacles. But what I love so much about Bear Bryant, though, y'all don't realize what poor is until you've been to Fordyce, Arkansas. And when I listened to Bear Bryant talk about what his mama and grandmama did, I could relate because I heard my dad's stories. And I was so nervous when he was coming to visit us. And he had called to say, hey, tell your folks I'm going to be a little late. I'm visiting Fordyce. I'm late. So what do my brothers do? We go out in the backyard, 2-on-2 basketball, go 8 foot high. And then we have a 6-foot fence, and the ball happened to bounce over the fence as we're, involved in this 2-on-2 best of 7 game. And there he was, the bear, with the hat, houndstooth hat, the whole bit. I said, Coach, I didn't know you was there. You ready? My mom's inside. We're going for the home official visit. They're ready to hear you. Finish the game. I said, well, you don't really want to see my brothers and I finish this 2-on-2 game. Just, we're just playing around. I said, finish the game. Yes, sir. We finished the game. Came in, told my mom, my dad,
Tell you what I'd like to do is go ahead and give all 4 of these Duck boys a scholarship right now.
of course, that won my mother over. I learned my first lesson in recruiting right there. Wow, take care of the family from 1 all the way to 4. You ain't gonna be in good graces now. Frank Rolls, the southern draw of the Jordan. He was in the living room. I know he's a skinny 6'3", but my mom was cooking that night, and I know he was full. We had some purple hull peas, cornbread. I mean, my mom had it laid out. And he'd eaten all that. My mom made some apple pie and already had 1 slice with ice cream. And my mom says, Coach Rose, would you like to have 1 more slice of that apple pie? Oh, yes, ma'am, I would. And if you don't mind, put the recipe down so I can take it back to Barbara. Well, that was the second lesson I learned real quick. Never turn down food and get the recipe. Whether you like it or not, get the recipe. I know he was full. But that was the attitude that these guys had. They always were winners. They were respectful. But I had just a great group of guys. And to me, there's nothing like a team. There's nothing like it. Watching your run last year was a fun thing to watch. All the way to the end, the last drive. Even when nobody thought you were going to make it, that last 80 yards, you found a way to make it. That's why I wouldn't be too underwhelmed, y'all. I watched them throw today. I watched them run today. We watched them catch today. They look pretty good. They look pretty good. So, if I had a nickel for every time somebody came to my office and said, Coach, if I was just 6'2", if I could just run 4.5, and you just want to take a 2x4 and hit them right upside the head and say, hey, I want you. I want you just the way you are. You take that 6'2", 200, whatever you are, and you try to get that 4.7 to 4.6, or you take that bench press at 225 and you try to get to 235. You take what you have, you're going to be just fine. And so, as I fast forward, got to Ole Miss, Michael Orr, Dexter McCluster, Michael Wallace playing for Miami, Kendrick Lewis, all these guys that had never been to a bowl game. Never. And they had an attitude. Anytime something went wrong, they had this attitude, I confess, it's your fault. It ain't my fault. And that's kind of the world we live in sometimes. I confess it's your fault. And so we took this team that was a lot of individuals, and I don't know if y'all realize, there was a study done from about 2001 to 2006. If I signed 25, do you know 16 on the average during that time came from a one-parent home? I've only had one instance where the dad played both roles. So I have an awesome respect for mothers and a high school coach, because the high school coach is really the father, and he hands the baton to me. And so you got to realize, I take a young man at 18 years of age away from home for the first time and say, hey, I want you up at 6:30 in the morning. I want you to go eat breakfast. I want you to go to school. I want you to go to study hall. Come back to the weight room. Then we're meeting. Then we're going to practice. And you got to realize they're not just standing in one line saying, oh, Coach Nutt, what can I do for you next? There's a lot of different personalities. And it never fails, whether at Boise State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, there'll always be one that comes through the hallway with a frown on her face. I say, Johnny, what's wrong?
Personal problems?
Personal problems. Well, do you have a brother in Iraq? No. Well, do you have cancer? No. Well, do you have a torn ligament? No. Then you can't have personal problems. These are the best days of your life. And last night you missed study hall, so I want to take you for a 5 and 5 program in the morning. 5 and 5, Coach. What's 5 and 5? I'm going to wake you up at 5 a.m., drive you out about 5 miles. I'm going to help you get back. Quick. Real quick. So it's funny, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I get a little text from one of my former players. Hey, Coach, best days of your life. I'd say every day when the heat index is 115, guys. 2 a days. You know how tough that is. I'd come out and say, best days of your life. And I know they'd want to slap me. Best days of your life. And I had a little text last week. Best days of your life. Don't forget about the 5 and 5. They want discipline, and they want somebody to structure. They want somebody to love them. We try to give them all they can stand. And that's what I appreciate about the coaches, the high school coaches. The awards you got tonight, and I like what one young man said about his team, is your offensive line. It's a good thing to say, tailback. Keep telling that offensive line, way to go, big man. Keep blocking. I'll keep running. You keep blocking. Because remember this, you're a shadow. Oh, Coach, nobody watches me. I play behind Barry Sanders or McFadden. Somebody's watching me. There's a little ninth grader that's watching you. Watching the way you walk, the way you talk right now. They're watching the way you work. They watch what you do on Friday night. They watch what you do. So every single day, I want you to take these 3 questions with you. Whether you're talking to your dog, your cat, your girlfriend, ask these 3 questions, because this is what we're going to be asking of you. Number 1, can I trust you? Can I trust you? Can I trust you to go to school? Can I trust you to run those wind sprints in the summertime? Can I trust you? Can I trust you on Friday night when somebody says, smoke this? This will make you feel right. Drink this. Are you committed? Commitment really doesn't mean, Coach, I'll play for you if you let me play tailback, let me carry the ball 30 times. Commitment means I'll do whatever it takes for my team. I'll do whatever it takes with a Barry Sanders attitude. A McFadden, I'll do anything for my team. It's amazing how that works out. I'm totally committed. The ones that just are halfway in, it doesn't work. And the last question is, do you care? Because I know you coaches care about you, or they wouldn't be here tonight. So if you say, yes, I trust, yes, you're committed, yes, you care, you got something real special. And so I want to wish y'all the best of luck. Let's go to college football. These kind of the different time, new frontier, Final Four playoff. Everybody's looking for that playoff. Y'all got a real chance to get there. I take one game at a time, just like Coach Fisher's telling. Got good athletes. Hopefully you stay injury free. You never know. Ball bounces a little bit funny sometimes, real funny. And so it's just like last year. Boy, y'all kept going, kept playing together. We're real unselfish. It's amazing what happens when everybody's unselfish. What's going to be the real task for the Seminoles this year is you've already got one crystal ball. It's easy to take a deep breath. And it's real easy to say, you know what, we're going to win. When that other team is playing, in their mind, the Super Bowl. We get to play Florida State. So you're going to get their A game every single time. And so you got a good group of coaches over there, and I know they're coaching them. I like to just end right there. Let's just go ahead and open it up. I got 2 more stories, but I'll wait at the end. Let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Yes, sir.
Last year, we had the pleasure of hosting Floyd Fulmer from Tennessee, who regaled us with his account of being on the set of Blindside and Meeting Sandra Bullock. We would like to have your version so you can tell us the truth.
Blindside, there's nothing like it. And I tell you what I love. Sandra Bullock, you know, I'm kind of nervous. I've never been around actors and actresses. Tim McGraw loves football, loves his LSU Tigers. Sandra Bullock is so humble, so nice, unbelievable. And I love what she said one day. We're sitting in there, Coach Fulmer, Lou Holtz, Tommy Tuberville, Nick Saban, Ed Orgeron, and she comes in and says, "Can I give y'all just a piece of advice?" And Lou Holtz says, "Sure, go ahead." Go ahead. And so she says, "Use your indoor voice. Y'all are too loud. You're not always coaching now. Just use your indoor voice." And especially was looking at Ed Orgeron because Ed was really loud. But no, she was really great, humble, unbelievable experience. I wasn't going to do that, and they wanted everybody that recruited Michael Orr. So you had a couple of guys that were moving around schools because at the time I was at Ole Miss, but actually when I recruited Michael Orr, you know, I was at Arkansas. And so I said no the first time, and then FedEx owner Fred Smith, daughter Molly, was executive producer or assistant executive producer. Fred Smith calls and says, "I really need you to do this." "Yes, sir, I'll be there." FedEx is a good donor there, a little Ole Miss, so I was there. Got to do it. But that was a great experience. It's a good thing. Yes, sir.
What's your take on the new spread offense, and is it going to stay the same for several years? Go back to the way you coach?
Well, I tell you what, right now, that's the thing. It's up-tempo, hurry up. I think it's even going to the NFL level. Chip Kelly, it's really a monster right now to keep those defensive linemen with their hands on their hip, to run play after play, get a snap every 12 to 13 seconds. I think it's a real weapon. Hard to substitute, hard to call. That, you know, Nick doesn't like it because he wants to play that chess game. Oh, you got tight end? You got 2 tight ends? Ooh, good. I'm gonna have 3 backers. You know, he likes to play that game. And so when you hurry and you're up tempo and you're moving, you get tired. And so I think it's here right now. With Matt Jones, you know, we did a little bit of that, a little read option, and then Jeremiah Masoli, I had the privilege to coach him, and taught me a lot about it there at Ole Miss with him. So I really think it's here for a while. And maybe going to the next level even more. Yes, sir.
Who you think will win the SEC this year?
Well, that's a good question. Who I think will win the SEC? You know, Auburn, Alabama, I mean, it's hard to say this team's going to win it right now. It's just 2 weeks in. Georgia looks good. Everybody was picking, they were really high on the ball coach. South Carolina. You lose Jadeveon Clowney, Kelsey Quarles. You lose that front. It's a lot different now in defense, the way they look, the way they play. So I think Georgia in the East, between Alabama, Auburn on that side, but who knows, LSU, I've never seen a team, LSU's lost 18 juniors in 2 years, and all they do is reload. So they've lost a lot of quarterbacks in the SEC. It could go a lot of different ways. You know, Ole Miss, the state of Mississippi, if you look at the Mississippi schools, they have 2 of their quarterbacks coming back, Bo Wallace and Dak Prescott, and they both feel this is their best team. I know for a fact, Cody Pruitt, these are young men that had to play as freshmen for me. Cody Pruitt, C.J. Johnson, Cedarius Bryant, Byron Bennett. These guys are men now. They were little babies playing as freshmen, but now they're men. And same way Dan Mullen feels good about his team. So this is going to be a tough conference. It's going to be tough to get to Atlanta. Yes, sir.
Are you done coaching?
Well, I'd like to have one more, but I don't know. Nobody's called.
You have
You don't have to be in the SEC either. Kellen, you don't have to be in the SEC. Kellen, spread that out to your AD. Add your AD out there. So I miss it. I just miss the, like I told you, I miss the relationships. I miss that competitive drive on Saturday, competing. You miss that. But most of all, you miss the celebrated locker room, and you miss when somebody says 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when they walked across that stage, "Hey, coach, you never would have made it without your 4 years." I'm the father that I am today. I'm the husband I am today because of those 4 or 5 years. That's what you miss. Yes, sir.
What is your assessment of Florida State versus the SEC and what they have offered, facilities and whatnot?
Florida State, assessment between Florida State and SEC. Florida State, number one, don't be underwhelmed. All right? I'm going to keep repeating that when you go to bed tonight, because what you see on the hoof, beautiful, beautiful. Goldman, Edwards, beautiful. There's a linebacker, I can't think of his name, that wasn't practicing today. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I mean, 6'4", 240, about 7% body fat. I mean, they can play. They got speed. So they can compete with anybody. That's why they were national champions. That's why they beat the SEC. First time that anybody beat the SEC to get them off the throne in 7 or 8 years. Florida State did it. They can do it again. But people are coming after you now. Harder than ever before. Stay healthy, but I wouldn't be underwhelmed. Yes, sir.
Was the game that you won against Florida back when you beat Tim Tebow, would you say that's probably your favorite win? I know they're all good. But.
Yeah, they're all good, but that was a great one because Tim Tebow, Percy Harvin. I got to tell you a story on that. We just got beat by Vanderbilt the week before. And so we came in, everybody's head down, and so I pulled out 6 good plays, 6 plays where we all played together, 11 on both sides. 2 good special teams plays. Then I pulled out about 3 bad plays where we fumbled, threw an interception, and nobody on one play on defense. We had about 5 guys hustling the ball, 6 guys watching. So I said, this is good, this is bad. This is good, this is bad. This is good, that's bad. Now look, if you listen to the world, we're supposed to get beat when we go to Gainesville by 33 points. If you listen to the world, if you turn on your Facebook, they will make fun of you tonight because you got beat by Vandy. Well, I'm here to tell you, Mike Wallace, Michael Orr, Parade Jerry, John Jerry, Jevin Sneed, Mike Wallace, we're a whole lot better than you think. But here's the thing. Let's take the ball and throw it to our guys. Let's go chase the ball, and when we go chase the ball, let's arrive with some bad intentions. Let's arrive with a bad mood. And so Thursday night, I kept putting attitude. We're going to get to the 4th quarter. We're going to be 3 up, 3 down, 6 up, 6 down, and watch out. Okay, guys, when we get there, we land. And I just told them, I said, now guys, it's going to be 85,000 in the swamp now. So you're going to get some. As soon as we land, there's 5 guys on the roof, putting tar on the roof, and they got off, and we're getting off the plane. First thing they say, it's going to be a great scrimmage, boys. And I'm hoping that my guys didn't hear it. We go in, get dressed. Here we go, game time. Marche Green. It's the 2nd quarter. He comes to the sideline, comes to me. Hey, coach, we're going to win today. I said, what'd you say, Marche? We're going to win today. I said, okay, well, look, get back out there and cover Percy Harvin then. Don't cover him and make me feel better. Come on, keep going. But the bottom line is we got to the 4th quarter, and we were up. And it's amazing what a sideline did. The one that the week before we said, I confess it's your fault. They came together with one heartbeat. That was the most celebrated locker room. That was awesome to beat Tim Tebow. Now, we had the longest game in the world at Arkansas, beat Ole Miss in 7 overtime, beat Kentucky, beat Texas in Austin, beat Tennessee. Now, Tennessee beat us. We had them beat in 98 in Knoxville, and my man slipped, and the ball came out, and they recovered it, put it in the end zone. They went on to win the national title.
Yeah, we remember.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it. Anybody else?
That wasn't a fumble.
What's that?
That wasn't.
I didn't think it was fumble either. Thank you. Get that written up and turn it in, man. Come on.
Who's the player that sticks out in your mind the most?
Did I coach? I love Darren McFadden. It's hard to say one. You know, Matt Jones, Jason Peters, Sean Andrews. I mean, those were great. Batman Girl, they were great, phenomenal. Here's what I love about Darren McFadden. He loved football, guys. He loved football. He would play catch. at the end of practice, and you have to literally say, hey, let's go in and get some treatment, let's go eat. And then on Sunday, he would come rushing in, be the first one. We had special teams on Sunday. He'd come rushing in on Sunday afternoon, sit in the first seat, and he'd be, hey, watch this, watch my block. He blocked for Felix Jones on the kickoff return, and so he was so unselfish, and I love that. Dexter McCluster was another guy that was 5'8". He's playing now for the Titans. He had an unbelievable heart. He stayed hurt the first 2 years. When we got him, took off. And I just love unselfish guys that are willing to give it up for his team. Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier about coaching under coaches that were, head coaches that you worked for. I'm wondering if there are any coaches that maybe coached underneath you that we could keep an eye out for, like Malzahn's in that realm that you would look for big things from maybe down the road.
Yeah, of course, Malzahn's really taken off, hit it just right. Of course, had some really good talent, but I love the things he's doing offensively. Rhett Lashley is a guy that was a student assistant for me. He's the offensive coordinator. Keep your eye on him. He's awesome. Great mind, a young guy that really has it. Great recruiter. There's so many of them that are they're good, and sometimes it's hard to just get that chance, that opportunity. It's hard. And I've been away for 2 years, and so I've lost a little bit. I always just try to encourage these guys that are coaching right now. For example, my offensive line coach is at Eastern Illinois. He's been with me for a long time. He's at Eastern Illinois. I helped my guy named Kim Dameron get that job, and he's really good and bright. Been a lot of places. He's coming, but it's just hard because they're all the ones that are moving right now. Auburn, guy at Auburn, doing great. Keith Burns was a great defensive coordinator that's with the Oakland Raiders. That now he's coaching high school ball at San Jose State. Chris Vaughn is another one to me. I mentioned at Godby High School guys I recruit. He's the next up and coming. He'll be a defensive coordinator. He's at the University of Texas. He'll be a defensive coordinator before long. Really appreciate y'all. Yes, sir.
How do you think Charlie Strong's going to do Texas?
I think it's going to take time now. It's going to take time. They got one good team on both sides, but they don't have the depth. And then when you lose David Ash, the other two quarterbacks aren't ready. They're not very accurate. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
I don't believe he's finished coaching. Do y'all? No. All right, Coach. From the Tallahassee Quarterback Club, we have something special for you for your next coaching gig. All right, we have a little box here that says Tallahassee Quarterback Club with your name engraved on it. And inside is a nice gold whistle with our signature engraved on it for you to take to your next school. And we thank you for being here, pal. We enjoy it so much. Everyone, we'll see you in 2 weeks with FAMU head coach Earl Holmes. We hope that you come and bring a friend with you. We have some more kids to present awards to. Have a great night.